Hi everyone, this is Perfume Coast, so welcome to my channel. I continue talking about powdery scent profile, and specifically today I'll be talking about leather powdery profile. But let me say a few words about this profile as such. I'm someone who happens to be a big advocate of sustainability, and what's a very important and powerful message to me is that this profile, apart from being beautiful and comforting to many of us, allows us nonetheless to reduce or get rid altogether of wearing or buying real genuine leather products such as bags, jackets and shoes. Because even if you're a fan, all it takes is to spray leather forward perfume and basically enjoy it without bringing harm to nature or animals. But without further ado, let's jump into the ocean of perfumes. And the first perfume I'd like to share with you is called Creme de Cuir by the house BDK, which happens to be quite popular in the fragrance community. But first let's take a look at what Fragrantica is listing us in terms of the notes. So on the top we've got pineapple, grapefruit, bergamot, mandarin orange. In the middle there's white suede, sandalwood, pink pepper, black pepper. And finally in the base there's cashmere, vanilla, white musk, grey musk and birch. So this perfume starts off bright and a bit peppery. But if you're not concentrating an awful lot on the pepper note, you quickly notice distinct fruity, juicy pineapple. So this pineapple is sort of powdery too, and that's where you're getting your bingo. It's actually suede. You distinctly and unmistakably detect this powdery leathery texture that suede tends to give off. So this suede is just a touch smoky, but it's far from being animalic or chard-like overly smoky. So what you're having here is quite a unique scent, in fact, hence its popularity in the fragrance community. So namely what you're dealing with is this sparkly, juicy pineapple wrapped up in clean, slightly smoky suede, which altogether makes this scent quite unisex as well. So if I were to put together my 10 best fragrances for life, this one would certainly be part of it. So combination of juicy and powdery and sustainability of this combo is simply amazing and quite rare to come across also. Because one note mostly overpowers the other eventually, and here it's good different fortunately. So overall it's a big recommendation to those of you who are somewhat still unfamiliar with this masterpiece. Next up is another release dedicated to the same profile. It's called Tenue de Soiree by the French house Goutal. And as always, let's take a quick look at the notes. So according to Fragrantica, on the top there's blackcurrant and bergamot, in the middle there's iris, rose and jasmine, and finally in the base there's patchouli, caramel, leather and white musk. So this perfume opens up zingy and sparkly, and whilst remaining like this, the scent immediately gives off this blackcurrant, which is top note, and I can also detect pretty quickly rose, which is middle note. So this opening is quite powdery too. So and as the scent develops, I can gradually detect very refined leather. Leather here is not smoky or rough or anything, but rather a smooth one, the likes of probably a leather glove texture. So eventually all notes are very nicely blended together. It's rose, in my view, that makes leathery direction here so clean and refined. So it's not simply your plain leather jacket, if you will, but the one that's infused with rosy floral aroma, and perhaps this jacket has been stored in the wooden wardrobe for some time, and it still retains, therefore, this touch of woodiness alongside the rose perfume. Next up is released by Italian house Valentino, and its original release called Donna. And as always, let's take a look at the notes that Fragrantica is listing. So here we have quite a similar bunch of notes to the previous one. On the top we've got bergamot and grapefruit, in the middle there's iris, Bulgarian rose, praline, mahonial, and finally in the base there's leather, vanilla and patchouli. So this one is very similar profile to the previous perfume, as said before. It even has a number of identical notes, such as rose, iris, leather, caramel, slash praline, patchouli, bergamot. The difference, however, is that rose here is front and center, and it certainly overshadows leather accord in here. So leather from the very start is a sort of supporting act in this perfume, but make no mistake, it's still there very much. So the start, similar to Goutal release, is very bright and sparkly, but it's rather citrusy than fruity and hardly surprising as there is no blackcurrant note in here as different from the previous release. Then very quickly the scent converts into the sort of all about rose concept, and rose here is powdery and also has this leathery suede aura to it, but if Goutal's rose is sort of coated in leather, sort of wears that leather jacket, here leather is just somewhat nearby object, I would say. So the scent overall is also more sour compared to the Tenue de Soiree. So let me summarize. This perfume is rose forward powdery scent with a consistent touch of suede. This is not your sticky, strong, jammy rose, but a very well behaved one, and just a touch sweet. So I do believe it's rather suede like vibe rather than leather, despite it's the latter that's being, that's listed among the notes, as we could see. And the reason I believe is prominent presence of iris that makes the leather texture always more powdery and hence more suede. I'm just loving this scent, despite the fact that rose in perfumery is not at all my favorite profile, and I do have quite a modest rose-forward perfumes collection compared to other notes and profiles. But on the other hand, that says it all about how good that classic perfume is. Whilst being true rose-forward specimen, it does have this twist that gives this perfume extra dose of sophistication and complexity. So, and finally, the release of another release of the House BDK, which has been featured in my previous video dedicated to vanilla powdery profile. So it's called Vanille Leather, and let's just be reminded of the note set Fragrantica is listing. So here what we're dealing with on the top is violet and pink pepper, in the middle there's tuberose, orange blossom and jasmine, and finally in the base there's vanilla, orris, leather, benzoin, oak and patchouli. So this perfume, as said before, has been featured in my previous video, and therefore I will simply summarize my overall impressions. So it starts off with sweet vanilla wrapped up in a smoky leather, whereas it's vanilla and leather in equal parts. And because of smoky leathery accord, vanilla has this density to it. So to me, it's a distinct association with a caramelly sticky toffee pudding dessert. So very unique, somewhat gourmandish, but also very much perfumey scent that's ideal for colder weather or evening wear as far as all year round wear is concerned. But that's it, guys. This is, the last perfume for today's video. If you like this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, please comment if you will. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.